Before I bought my Porsche 911, I daily drove a Porsche Boxster for over 6 years. And today I'm going to tell you the 10 lessons I learned in the process. Lesson number 1. Have you ever heard that the Porsche Boxster is a girl's car? Or perhaps you've heard that it's a hairdresser's car. When the 986 generation Porsche Boxster was brand new, it received rave reviews from the automotive media. But movie and TV tie-ins, like having the Boxster be driven in Legally Blonde and The Simple Life, gave off a certain perception. But the thing is that just about everyone that repeats that a Boxster is a girl's car or a hairdresser's car is going purely off the look. Most Boxster haters haven't even driven one. In fact, most of those that give the most hate drive something like a Nissan Sentra. You don't have to love the Porsche Boxster, but at least drive one before putting it down. Lesson number 2. Have you ever been on a roller coaster that feels like it's going 100 miles per hour? Most of the time, these roller coasters are only hitting a top speed of 65 miles per hour. And yet they feel much faster than your car does on the expressway. The Porsche Boxster is a lot like that. If you aren't paying close attention to the speedometer with the top down, while you're flying down the road, it's going to feel just like you're on a racetrack. This is thanks to the sound, the wind in the hair, and a car that when new was quite quick. Because it isn't really how fast you go, it's the sensation of speed. Lesson number 3. My oldest son is working on getting his driver's license. Our family car is quite large, so he's been learning to drive on my 1999 Porsche 911. Rough life, I know. Just a few days while he was taking a corner, I got the opportunity to warn him about snap oversteer when he let off the gas in the middle of a turn, in a way that if he had been driving at higher speeds, could have ended up with us backing into a tree. This just wouldn't have been an issue if I still had the 1999 Porsche Boxster. Thanks to its mid-engine layout, the handling is more neutral and predictable. So if you're teaching your child to drive in a Porsche, a Boxster is probably a little bit safer. Lesson number 4. Before I purchased my Boxster, a mechanic tried to talk me out of it. He did so by telling me that his shop would charge $500 for an oil change because of how difficult it was to work on since it was mid-engine. Fortunately, I don't always listen to what seems like good advice, just to see what happens. In the case of the Boxster, it turned out pretty well. Oil changes are just as easy as on any other car, once you have the right tools and know the correct torque specifications. The Boxster is well designed, and while it looks difficult to work on, it is really fairly easy. Sure, getting to the top of the engine takes you a few minutes to remove some panels and put it in service mode. But most things are easily reachable from the top or from a removable panel behind the seats or from underneath the car. In fact, most jobs are considerably easier than in my current 911, where it isn't unusual to have to drop the engine a few inches just to get to things. So don't listen to someone that says a Boxster is difficult to work on and then save a ton of cash doing the maintenance yourself. Lesson number 5. When the first water-cooled Porsche 911 debuted, it was praised by most automotive media. But many 911 buyers didn't like that the headlights were the same as the much cheaper Porsche Boxster. In fact, from the A-pillar forward, the 986 generation Porsche Boxster is nearly identical. That means that the Boxster got a lot of hand-me-downs from the 911. That is incredible from a performance and experience standpoint. But while you can buy a good early Porsche Boxster very reasonably on today's used market, most of the parts are going to cost you the same as if you bought the 911. So they're not really any cheaper to run. Lesson number 6. The Porsche 911 is known as a sports car that all other sports cars are measured against. But is it a true sports car? For many, the definition of a true sports car doesn't include back seats. Having the small back seats in the back of the 911 does make it a bit more practical, but it also makes it feel a bit less focused. Probably why they don't have them in GT3. The Boxster, on the other hand, only has 2 seats. And from a very strict definition of what a true sports car is, the Boxster ticks all of the right boxes. Lesson number 7. When I had my Boxster, my wife and I were able to get away on a few-day trip from where we lived in Morro Bay, California at the time, down to Santa Barbara. The Boxster made the perfect weekend getaway car. It easily was able to carry all of our luggage in the frunk. And thanks to its rear trunk, we were able to carry everything we bought during the trip. Porsches are some of the most practical sports cars on the road, and the Boxster is no different. Lesson number 8. If you've driven a newer vehicle and then an older Porsche, you'll notice that the new vehicle feels a bit numb. Some of this is all of the technology that tries to assist you in being a better driver than you really are. But the biggest difference is the steering feel. This is where the 986 generation Porsche Boxster really shines. In fact, only the 986 and 987 generation Porsche Boxsters offer such a perfect steering feel experience with just the right amount of power assist when you need it and complete steering feel when you don't. In fact, the steering feel on the Boxster is just as good as the more expensive 911, but at a much lower price, making it quite a sports car bargain. And once you've driven one, it's an experience that simply can't be matched by any modern car. Lesson number 9. To get a complete sports car experience, you want to involve as many of your 5 senses as possible. Of course, the 3 most important are going to be touch, sight, and sound. Taste and smell might be going a bit too far. With the engine sitting right behind the driver, the soundtrack of the early Porsche Boxster is just about perfect, especially if the right sports exhaust is paired with that flat 6. Getting an authentic soundtrack that pleases the ears is something that's become quite rare and very expensive in newer cars. Lesson number 10. There is no dispute that the Porsche 911 is the king of the Porsche lineup. Porsches themselves have ensured that the Boxster and Cayman can't fully outshine it at the highest performance levels. But if you look at it from a values perspective, the Boxster gives you 9/10 of what the 911 does at a much lower price of entry. On the track with the same driver, the 911 is going to run away from the Boxster, especially on the straights. But on the road, if you're going back and forth between the 2 cars, you're not going to have any less fun driving the Boxster. And while the Porsche 911 is very special, the Boxster can certainly hold its own when it comes to the complete driving experience. The thing is, you may be going back and forth on whether to spend more on a 996 generation Porsche 911 or save some cash on a 986 generation Porsche Boxster. If that's the case, you'll want to check out what I've learned in over 5 years of owning a 996 generation Porsche 911.